Hey everyone, welcome back to another Diablo 4 video. In this video, I'm going to go over a Barbarian Whirlwind build. So in this build, I utilize my primary is going to be Flay to generate a bleed, and that's also going to give me Fury. Then there's also Whirlwind, which is going to be my core ability, which is also a channeling ability. I also have two defensive shouts. Or sorry, one's defensive and one's brawling, but I have two shouts. Then I have Death Blow, and then I have Call of the Ancients. So the reason why I have two shouts is for the buffs it gives me. And then Death Blow is for killing off enemies that are almost dead, or even some instances with lesser enemies that are, common enemies that are generally weaker. This usually one-shots them, and it resets if I get a killing blow with it. And if I at least hit one enemy, it makes me go berserk. And then Call the Ancients summons 3 Ancients that help you, and it just does massive damage. So that's the build. I'm going to go over the skill point distribution. So I have Flay. I ranked it up to 2. You don't necessarily have to. But the biggest thing is I ended up going to Enhanced Flay, then Battle Flay. So essentially this applies a bleed and also makes them vulnerable. So it's very strong. They take extra damage and they also bleed. Then I made sure to max out Whirlwind 5 out of 5. Then I have Enhanced Whirlwind, gain 1 Fury each time Whirlwind deals direct damage to an enemy, or 3 Fury against elite enemies. Violent Whirlwind, after using Whirlwind for 2 seconds, Whirlwind deals 30% increased damage until it is cancelled. So big damage buff. I also have Pressure Point unlocked. Your core skills have up to 10% chance to make enemies vulnerable for 2 seconds. So again, this is giving you those chances of applying those status effects. That way the enemy takes more damage. Endless Fury. Basic skills generate 5% more Fury when using two-handed weapons. Then I have my Shout, Rallying Cry. Increases movement speed by 30% and resource generation by 55% for 6 seconds and nearby allies for 3 seconds. So this is great for solo play and group play. You're buffing yourself and allies. Then Enhanced Rallying Cry. Rallying Cry grants you Unstoppable while active. So while this is active, you're not vulnerable to status effects. Strategic Rallying Cry. Rallying Cry grants you 10% base life as Fortify. While Rallying Cry is active, you gain an additional 2% base life as Fortify each time you take or deal direct damage. So this just pretty much makes you very tanky. Then in the brawling skills, I have the other cry, which is War Cry. Increases your damage dealt by 18% for 8 seconds and nearby allies for 4 seconds. So again, this buffs yourself as well as teammates. So this is very strong for solo and group play. Then I have Enhanced War Cry. War Cry grants you Berserking for 4 seconds. Then Mighty War Cry. War Cry grants you 28% base life as Fortify. So you're getting very tanky while buffing your damage. Another thing to consider, when it says Berserking, it means you have 25% increased damage and 15% increased movement speed, and the effect lasts up to 5 seconds. So that's pretty nice. Then in the weapon mastery tree, that's where I have Death Blow. That's the one where if it kills an enemy, its cooldown is reset. It deals a good amount of damage too. Then I have Enhanced Death Blow. Death Blow deals 100% increased damage to bosses. Warrior's Death Blow. If Death Blow damages at least one enemy, gain Berserking for 3 seconds. So again, that Berserking is adding onto that damage. Then I have Hamstring. Your bleeding effect slow enemies by 10%. Then Cut the Bone. Your bleeding effect deal 6% increased damage to vulnerable enemies. So again, I'm applying bleeding, vulnerable, and this also slows them. And then add that with this, the bleeding effect deals 6% increased damage. So I'm stacking bleeds, I'm stacking vulnerable, and I'm stacking slows. So it's very good for controlling the enemy, having them take extra damage. Then for my ultimate skill, I have Call the Ancients. And so this pretty much calls 3 ancients for 6 seconds, and each ancient does their own thing. But what's cool about this is, while call the ancients is active, gain 10% bonus attack speed and 10% increased damage. So not only do I have 3 ancients doing massive damage helping me, it's also buffing my stats as well, doing attacking faster and doing more damage. Then I have prime call of the ancients. Okay, yeah, so this is what correlates to this right here. And then Supreme Call of the Ancients. And this is what also they get this additional ability to it. So you gain 10 Fury each time Correlate damages an enemy with his Frenzy. Talic enemies are slowed by 50% for 1 second when damaged by his Whirlwind. And then Madoc, 30% chance to stun enemies for 3 seconds when using his Upheaval. So again, this is giving me more generation for my resource. This is slowing enemies, and this is stunning enemies. So you're applying all these status effects on top of increasing your damage, having Fortify, so you're more tanky, applying bleeds, applying vulnerable, and also slowing. So it's generally an all-around pretty good build. So now, as far as the gameplay, I'm just going to go ahead and do the rotation. So depending on how you play, you could stack both war cries at the same time if you want, or stagger them. And for this demonstration, I'm going to get a big group of mobs too, just to show how strong this build is. So I use a cry, generated fury, use my death blow. See that I'm still fortified. Use my other shout, death blow, and it reset. Okay, so I don't have my shouts, but I'm just whirlwinding. Take very little damage. And I'm not even fully applying my bleeds yet either. I just killing things as I go. The cooldown isn't that bad either. I'm gonna call my ancients. They just tear through everything. Now usually for the ancients, it's good to save them for like boss fights, since they do a lot of damage. So that way, as you're doing that, you apply your shouts. You want to apply your bleeds and everything, so that way they take more damage from your ancients. So I use a shout. My other shout. Dead. See, I even rushed in there. I stayed inside of that debuff too. Still survived. But again, you could play it more passively and you'll be fine. See how Death Blow didn't kill him, but did a good amount of damage. Yeah, everything just melts. Pretty tanky. Deal good damage, and again, if you're in a group, they also benefit from your shouts. And yeah, that's my Barbarian Whirlwind build. So hopefully you can get some inspiration from this, whether if you want to copy it exactly or, you know, modify it to your own taste. By all means, go for it. If this helped you out at all, please like and subscribe, and thank you for watching. Catch you in the next one.